Hey guys, the Black Critter Guy, and I'm back again with another anime review. Yeah, I've been keeping constant with the anime reviews, and this time it's on an anime that you all been begging me to watch, and I finally got to see it. Attack on Titan.
Oh no! He's gonna get eaten. Oh, oh no. Oh god. Oh, don't do it.
No! That's so disturbing. Oh.
In the past several months, this show has taken the entire anime community by storm.
And after watching the first 4 episodes, I can safely say that, oh my god, this is gonna be the best anime ever!
So popular that if you are a member of any anime community on the internet, you cannot escape it.
I wish there was music or something in the background. Oh god, Titans! Space! Well, Jack is dead.
I just don't. What the hell are you doing?
Welcome to Film Theory, an essential part of a balanced Titan breakfast.
Don't talk shit about Attack on Titan. It's a really good show.
Of course, this leads to several questions. Is this show worth the hype, or is it ruined by it? A similar situation happened about a year ago with the airing of a show called Sword Art Online.
It reminds me, the closest thing I can come up with is it looks like Sword Art Online.
Turns out, though, that Sword Art Online, at least the story part of it, was, to put it lightly, kinda shit.
But one of the best things about Attack on Titan is just how unpredictable it is.
Eren, our main character, in his first fight, dies. Yeah.
Oh no! No!
Now, I would be one to agree that Attack on Titan, to a very large degree, deserves the hype that it gets.
This anime is amazing.
Now, before any of you go nuts, I do think this is a really good show. The good stuff in it is not only amazing, it's some of the best I've seen in any anime.
Not only because of its animation, but just how impactful the story is and how well developed all the characters are.
It is a well-written, well-choreographed, and well-animated series.
So just check it out, bro.
Wow.
And some of the shows just don't fit our market, or might not fit your own personal taste or whatever. But every once in a while, when you see that one show that comes along your desk, you're just blown away.
The characters are very militant, so that's not hard for me because my voice is low. What was interesting is we had to scream, like, and he told us, I want you to go for it. Like, give everything you've got into this scream. I want to feel it shake. And I'm like, all right. So, I'm hunkering down, getting ready, because I'm going to pull it from here. And I screamed so loud, and I felt emotions coming from my gut.
I'm from Los Angeles, so the commute is a little further than I'm used to. It's kind of interesting to fly into town and then work for an extended period.
This is it, people! Do or die!
I always get nervous. You always get that, that butterfly feeling, or you hope that you're gonna do your best. I just deal with it.
And just like that, everything changed.
That's always the challenge of an adaptive script, is to try to bring it home into English for an audience who 9 times out of 10 is already very familiar with the show. In fact, already has a very profound relationship to the original Japanese. So you have to kind of pretend not to be an interloper.
It's a fantastic show. The story's great. It doesn't slow down. It's constantly just upping the ante, and all the characters are intriguing, and it has this bleak intensity.
I know you probably can't help being hideous. But I can't help being tired of looking at you.
I think Attack on Titan is like a Dragon Ball or a Sailor Moon. Maybe not necessarily that it runs for 10 years and maybe sells quite as much, although by all means, I hope it does. But what I have noticed about Attack on Titan is that it has broken out of what I think of as our very strong anime community and has reached a wider audience. I know at one point I heard Denny's was tweeting about Attack on Titan.
I hope it's really popular. Heck, I have a lot of friends in LA that have been obsessed with the show when it aired in Japan. Like, I'm excited to see what the real response is when we have the English dub and the large-scale release here in the US.
But it's still a good show, and I was more than happy to see it. And I'll definitely watch the second season when it comes out.
However, regular followers of my reviews will know that to me, the ending is paramount. And Attack on Titan, at this stage, after 25 episodes, is incomplete. And if and when the next season of the show comes along, this problem I have? No trace. Nothing to bury, nothing to mourn. It'll be whooshed away in an instant.
Much later. Evening. It's been 4 years.
Holy shit, the sky has parted and the anime gods have seen fit to finally bless us with another season of Attack on Titan.
Was it worth the wait? Or did it just end up being a colossal disappointment?
Activating Titan power!
It thrived on its interesting premise, explosive direction, constant twists and turns, and one of the strongest starts I can think of in anime. But after the series ended, everything felt a bit hollow.
Now, I, like many others, loved the first season of Attack on Titan.
It was a show that was exciting because of its shock factor, but as that wore off, it ceased being that special.
The question I posed previously in my anticipation video was something along the lines of, would Attack on Titan Season 2 be worth it?
There's a clear acknowledgement that it's out, but no real excitement or hype surrounding it.
It's kind of interesting to me, because whenever a new season of a show like Game of Thrones comes out, everyone goes nuts for it all over again.
No one's really talking about it.
Short version? Not really.
Yes, shows like Eromanga Sensei and Boku no Hero Tournament Arc hype have been taking up all the discussions, memes, and general attention within the anime community.
Of course I still freaking loved it!
I gotta say, thank God that this is the direction they've taken this story in.
It started off by stamping its mark with the most gut-wrenching death sequence the series had seen so far, reminding us that Titans are indeed terrifying.
The best parts were the action scenes and all the plot twists and mysteries about what the Titans were. And here, that's exactly what they focus on throughout the whole thing.
And how will the characters handle their dire situations? And speaking of characters, they're great!
On the subject of the characters, I should probably mention Levi for a bit, who I didn't really talk about in my review of Season 1 and has since become like the most popular character on the show.
What the fuck was Levi this season?
In fact, that's another problem I had with this season. A huge lack of Levi, an absence of Levi.
Even after all the praise I've given this season, I don't think it's exceptionally stand out in any given area. Mystery, horror, character development, the lot, and it's still brimming with flaws.
Patrick, you're a Titan.
Yes.
In terms of the reveal itself, Reiner and Bertold really don't mean that much to Eren. If we're just gonna pull Titans out of nowhere, at least make it someone who Eren had some kind of development with.
I could barely remember who those characters were.
Sure, the same brutal character deaths, the music, and everything else superficially was all physically present.
But Eren's powers are so inconsistent in terms of when and how he can transform that it's easy to see how people could see it as a cheap means of creating tension and drama.
But being able to theorize and try to predict what might happen before the show reveals it to you, to me, is one of the big, if not biggest, draws.
And also, the closing of Season 2 gives us a lot of clues about the origins of the Titans and Ymir Fritz, even though this was not yet mentioned in the anime. If we assume that dinosaurs in the world of Attack on Titan became extinct before humans appeared, as was the case in our own world, then how could Ymir Fritz use dinosaur DNA to create Titans?
Attack on Titan is just a very solid show, and always was. No masterpiece by any means, but still highly enjoyable. enjoyable. As whether or not Attack on Titan was overrated is debatable, whether or not it was overhyped was unquestionable.
On the whole, Attack on Titan Season 2 is a really good follow-up.
So now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, which makes this second season not much more than a leg up.
But either way, I enjoyed it regardless. Now let's just hope it doesn't join the likes of Spice and Wolf and Haruhi for that growing list of shows that I, as an anime fan, have just come to accept now that I'll just never be able to see a season 3 of.
Okay, so Wooly, I walked in here last week and went, so, basement? And you went, yup. And I went, what do you think? And you said, it was so worth it. It was so worth it. It was totally worth it.
I was right all along, you fuckers! It was worth it!
Yeah, Levi.
The animation though. You've still got the amazingly directed action sequences, the epic reveal of the world and the mystery it's built up, really difficult character decisions, consequence to every action, and all this equates to an experience you can rarely find in anime.
My soldiers scream out! My soldiers rage! Let's go! Fuck!
Bro.
Reach the sea! For both of us!
No! Oh my god!
Inside the walls, they don't have this type of technology. Taking pictures to them is like magic.
It turns out that humanity outside the walls has not perished.
The Attack Titan.
The
Shingeki no Kyojin. The name of the fucking show, dude!
And the humans outside the walls have developed more advanced technology than the humans inside the walls.
I'm seeing some people talk about how the story is trying to paint certain real groups in more positive light.
In an ironic expression of deep grief, he allows himself to be vulnerable in this moment as he sees this sea, before steeling himself for the fight ahead.
So it goes out and it's like, what is it? We're gonna assault on Marlia? For what? To do what? You're gonna kill the world?
Who knows, dude? Who knows?
I've become so much like Eren Yeager, it's scary. I wear black cardigans, verbally assault women, and physically assault my friends.
It's showtime!
A lot of people were whining about CGI.
Then I go.
The CGI is in Season 4 more than previous seasons, but it's not bad CGI. It's not janky Nintendo 64 cutscene.
When I look in the mirror, I can't help but say, Tatakai, Tatakai, which means fight in American.
The final season continued being hype, continued delivering on its complex political drama.
Holy shit!
I grew my hair out long because I don't care now.
I don't give a shit. You can argue with nobody in the comments, but fascism isn't cool, and neither is Flock, so go fuck yourself.
Who can blame him for not wanting to put faith in the open-mindedness of nations that have subjugated them for so long? Just like everyone, Flock has the right to fight and stand for what he believes will lead to the best world for him and his people.
Levi is undefeated. This is a good point to talk about where anti-natalism gets tricky in the context of the show.
Did anything big happen since the last time I talked about it? Oh yeah, the end of the world.
Wow.
When I see dogs being taken on walks, I get mad at them for not being free like I am.
Better call Saul. Talking attorney at law.
2,000 years later.
Eren was then able to view the memories that had been sent to Grisha from himself in the future.
This leak comes from an interview translated into English. Ellen becomes Dove, crying.
If this doesn't make any sense to you, then you understand it perfectly. I can't explain why this broke the minds of the remaining sane people in Titanfall.
From a short-tempered, revenge-hungry, Titan-thirsty maniac to a cold-hearted menace, Eren's incredible evolution has sparked heaps of controversy.
Also, I don't know why I did any of this.
That is to say that Eren was trying to get the entire world to not only understand the possible power of Paradis, but also hate him. So whoever killed him would be the world's hero.
The belief that Eren planned for the rumbling to be stopped from the beginning is absolutely incorrect and stems entirely from misunderstanding how the future memories work.
I think it's because I'm a silly baka.
He can't escape his very nature, which is just a dumb idiot whose only answer to anything is violence. He never changed.
Turns out, Eren just wanted to protect his buddies. Because they killed him, they can claim to be the heroes that saved the world. No foreign nations are strong enough for war. Mostly because they're dead.
Also, I killed my mom.
Okay, that's... okay.
Eren, please. What the fuck are you talking about?
What could have been something clear and concise felt a bit jumbled up, and I thought by just having a few more scenes to really give a glimpse into what was really going on in his head, it could have saved a lot of confusion.
People's reactions were very divided. This poll defines the meaning of split opinion.
In the end, we see a side of him that makes him one of the most confusing and infuriating characters I have ever seen.
Also, I don't want Mikasa to hoe around! Jesus Christ, I didn't expect something that pathetic, and I also actually say that in the show!
A bird flies up and wraps a scarf around her, then flies away, leaving her free. Ellen becomes Dove, crying.
Eren, Chad, please. Don't do this. I kneel!
But now the comments are split between the ending is bad and if you don't get the ending, you're retarded.
Who the fuck said this ending sucks? What the fuck is wrong with people? What do they want?
I still think I would recommend this to people, and I still will, because there's so much to love. But, there's a discussion you gotta have when you hit this point.
Attack on Titan just offers a really thought-provoking piece in a very, very beautifully constructed world filled with interesting characters.
And we've got symphonic elements, acoustic rock elements, great singing. I understand, y'all. This is great stuff.
And now, 10 years later, that journey has come to an end. Attack on Titan is finally over.
This show was unquestionably one of the greatest anime of the generation. It's difficult to put into words the effect it had on the anime community.
Some of us discovered anime because of this show. Some of us fell back in love with anime because of this show. Some of us will never forget anime because of this show.
Attack on Titan is my favorite story of all time.
It's one of, if not the best show I have ever watched.
Attack on Titan is one of my favorite stories ever told.
Welcome, one and all, to my very long and very thorough critique of Attack on Titan. If you are watching this, wondering just what you've gotten yourself into, I'll cut to the chase. This is the first installment in an examination of AOT the anime in full, from start to finish. Here I'll tell you what you can expect to see from this channel going forward, and what standards I will use to critique AOT. After that, I will take the opportunity to share my broader experience with the series over the years, and how that informed my conclusions about it in the present.
My critique is a breakdown of AOT's story, followed by criticisms of the writing. I may have a thing or two to say about direction as well, but this will mainly focus on being a narrative critique, which is hardly novel on YouTube, but there are two main parts of this project that are different from most of the reviews I have seen on the site. The first is that this project aims to assess the entire series as thoroughly as possible. I want to take it nice and slow and cover it scene by scene. I'll have more to say about some scenes than others, but it'll be very rare that I'm skipping over anything entirely. I will at least summarize. That's what I mean when I say this is a critique in full. I will be going through the entire series, injecting my criticisms and observations as I go. For some of you watching, this will sound familiar to the retrospective series on Attack on Titan that Kuroto's Mystery Shack does. That is where the second difference comes in. Whereas someone like Kurotos focuses on the positives of the series, this critique is mostly going to be about the negatives of Attack on Titan. I'll be very direct. Although the series is often celebrated for its complex and intelligent writing, and for sending the anime medium to greater heights, I am here to contradict. Attack on Titan's writing quality, with the exception of some scenes and aspects, is poor, and I aim to prove that. I recognize that is an incendiary claim. This series will delve into why I have come to conclude that, and what we can learn from it. You see, Attack on Titan offers a degree of complexity in storytelling and subject matter that, let's face it, most anime are poorly equipped for, which is one of the things that has gotten the attention of even people who don't watch anime. I've seen so many videos and posts regarding Attack on Titan as a masterpiece in storytelling. A not insignificant portion of people would even go so far as to say it is the best piece of storytelling they have ever known. Such high praise and widespread acclaim is sure to interest aspiring writers. It certainly pulled me in. Writers like this may wonder, what if I could do that? They will study the series in hopes that they will one day spin their own masterpiece. To those writers, these videos act to caution you in which parts of this series you try to emulate. There are techniques, visual and structural, that are well worth taking notes from, but the wheat must be separated from the chaff. There is a lot wrong with this series on an objective basis that may give the wrong idea to a lot of people about what the best way to write a story is. That is, without proper critical analysis. This series will serve as a guide as to what lessons from AOT to avoid, and which to adopt in their mission to perfect the craft. This brings me to my standards when critiquing any piece of media. I will make a claim, and I will support that claim with accurate references taken directly from the product. I'm very pro-death of the author here. I do not go off the word of any writer or director, no matter how much influence they may have had over the final product. The story is what the story is, and while an author's perspective may be very valuable, it does not serve as a substitute for the substance of their work. For example, Hajime Isayama, the author of AOT, has a certain vision of who his characters are, but for many of them, I would say both the manga and the anime follow very different people than what I think he would say about them. I have to go with the story over the author. It is what I am analyzing, not any one person's perceptions of it. Besides that, I have plenty to say regarding my personal feelings toward the show, but critically speaking, they will not enter into this assessment. My criticisms will be as objective as possible, and when I have something personal to say, I'll make it clear that I'm expressing a statement of preference. Moving on, when I say good writing or bad writing, I'm going off of an objective standard I've built up over time just reading and watching things, and writing myself. If people have questions, I'm happy to elaborate in further detail, but much like most people, I'm very big on maintaining internal logic in a story. If you tell me this is a story in a world where fire can't hurt people, then fire can't hurt people. There may later be a reason why fire can hurt people, perhaps due to causing harm to someone as a result of the fire, such as a burning tree falling on someone, but that fundamental part of the rule that fire cannot hurt people is not to be contradicted. From there, you can add on rules and stipulations like that fire can hurt a particular person, or it can hurt people under very specific circumstances. But then those cannot be contradicted either. That's the cool thing about writing. You can make up whatever weird rules you want to, but you're not allowed to break them after you've already committed. If you do, it will confuse people and take away from the importance of what happens in a conflict. If fire can't hurt people, and then fire directly hurts people just because the writer wanted something to happen, it's no longer clear what events will lead to what results. So you kind of have to suppose that anything can happen in this story at any time, which makes it a nonsense story. A character might live or die based on what the writer wants fire to do that day. Convenience and coincidence can also break storytelling if it's applied overzealously. Everything important that happens in a story should be the result of cause and effect, just as everything in life is a result of cause and effect. Remember, in real life, there are no plot holes. For example, in a battle involving a king on the front lines, an arrow suddenly strikes him in the head, killing him. Worst of all, it was one of his own men who loosed the arrow. The life of a critically important character in this battle was lost due to friendly fire. Now, friendly fire can happen in war, but there is always a reason it happens. That guy didn't kill the king for no reason. Something happened that caused his arrow to hit him. In wars, one common reason why friendly fire may happen is due to conditions in the environment that obscure vision. Another would be that people might be paid off to turn coat. Nothing happens without a reason. If you're going to kill off an important character and cut off all the future potential they could have had in your story, all I'm saying is you better have something better than, oops, I killed the king for no fucking reason. Again, that would be a nonsense story. On the other hand, good writing is logical. It is the negation of plot holes. It's the substance and nuance within a story to be able to account for as many factors at play as humanly possible. This helps avoid contrived writing by ensuring that whatever happens is the natural conclusion of something else in the story. If something is being left to chance, it's a small thing that doesn't decide the fate of the entire conflict. It's the ability to do all of this even while working within a fictional world, which may be nothing like our own, that makes a great writer. Great writing has regard for the rules of the fictional world, and for the consequences of a character's actions or of a significant event. It often involves research, planning, critical thinking, and serious introspection, even for the wackiest of comedies. Write what you know is advice people often give to amateur writers, and it's because writing about things you know intimately and reliably tends to lead to more complexly crafted and believable storytelling, which for a lot of people is also at the heart of intellectually satisfying storytelling. Approaching AOT with the same standard, it fails the test. I don't expect everyone to agree with my standard or to agree that all of the issues with AOT I bring up are enough for it to constitute a nonsense story, but I hope you'll at least acknowledge and respect my points if the research is right and my reasoning is sound. However, if you're not at all sold on the idea that consistency, plot holes, plot contrivances, or anything like that matters for the quality of a story's writing, then this isn't the channel for you. That's not me trying to be a jerk, but the fact of the matter is people like me value continuity on a fundamental level because it is present in every story. And if we aren't agreeing on that, there's not much in storytelling we will agree on. If you value consistency too, and cite issues like plot holes to show why a movie or a book is badly written, then my critique is going to make a lot more sense to you. Even if you don't agree with all of my points, either because you don't think they're accurate or you don't think they're enough to say Attack on Titan is badly written, you still value continuity, so we can still have a conversation and compromise to try and find a scale that works for both of us. Besides that, it may be as simple as that you enjoyed the nonsense story anyway. Fair enough, you're free to enjoy a nonsense story, and you are free to write a nonsense story, but my praise and the praise from people like me will always go to other writers out there who work so much harder to keep everything consistent and logical. You see, it's very easy to write a nonsense story because anything can happen. You don't have to account for things like cause and effect, the consequences of a character's actions in the wider context of the world they live in, or the idea that a character's traits and beliefs may cause them to act in specific ways in certain scenarios. You don't have to worry if your plot is filled with holes, or if everything critical that happens is a result of several giant coincidences. People just get lucky or unlucky at your leisure. There's very little reason to redraft, short of your own fancy changing, and there's very little reason to challenge your abilities. The very peak of storytelling belongs to those who develop a standard and stick to it. They are the ones making art that almost seamlessly imitates life. These are the best writers, the ones who want to make fully realized worlds with ecosystems, fully defined individuals, conflicts with purpose and logic, governmental structures that are appropriate to the setting, and potentially so much more. They must display carefully planned, clear, accurate, and efficient presentations of the reality of the world they've made, insights into human behavior, insights into a particular area of study or expertise, and again, so much more until finally they've created something that not just anyone could have created. In other words, what they took made skill. A nonsense story does not take skill to make. The bar is as low as you need it to be to get the thing done, and by putting the eminence and shadow on screen, I have put myself in the line of fire. Maybe that sounds harsh to you, but it should actually be very comforting. For anyone like myself who values storytelling and aspires to write their own stories, this should indicate that there's a way to get better that you can keep track of, and that what you are doing can be truly special if you're putting in the time to learn, to accumulate experience, and to strive to criticize yourself in order to improve your work. The idea that you could make better stories than other people, perhaps better than what you might be seeing on television or at the movies, or in a book you're reading, is empowering. It helps make the process an achievement, whereas it takes the wind out of my sails to hear that any story is simply good as long as it appeals to someone emotionally. To engage and entertain is important in any story, but the whole no skill and all feels thing misses the point too. And besides all that, at the end of the day, whether you agree with my standards or not, I see exercises like this as a win for both of us. To those who think Attack on Titan is great as it is right now, this critique may offer you a glimpse into what a better show could have looked like. If putting shows like this to task for their flaws will lead to works of media that are better than Attack on Titan, we are both going to be happy with that outcome. I will be challenging Attack on Titan's writing, putting pressure on it to see where the cracks in the script are, and where there are consequential flaws. Where the writing stands up to the harshest scrutiny are the areas we can then examine to learn a thing or two about writing a story. To learn what to do and what not to do, to put it another way. To help maintain a sense of balance in my work, and to steelman the opposing point of view in my videos, I will often address arguments brought up by Korotos Mystery Shack. See, it all comes around. His videos are by far the strongest and most thorough critique in favor of Attack on Titan's writing that I've seen on the site. There are so many details he brings up that I never noticed, and it is thanks to him that I have a lot more positive things to say about the writing in this series compared to when I started coming up with the idea for it. As such, when I try to anticipate any counter-arguments to my claims, Korotos' points will be heavily included because they are the best version of the arguments against my critique. He is my opposite, if you would. You'll be hearing a lot of his voice in addition to mine, so that can act as a nice break here and there. Now, although I will be addressing the story chronologically, I'm not only judging each episode on its own merits. I am also assessing the story as a whole. If I want to be accurate and fair about its quality, each episode cannot exist in a vacuum. That means there will be spoilers aplenty about lots of later plot points from seasons 1 through 4 and to the final arc. It's all fair game. For example, when I offer my criticisms for the events of Season 1, it will be with the foreknowledge that Annie, Bertolt, and Reiner are warriors from Marley who conspire to abduct Eren after they find out he has the power to transform. This is another way in which my videos will mirror Korotos' videos, as this is also a retrospective look at the series. Now I imagine if you clicked on this, you are probably caught up already, and you have seen the finale. I just thought it would be the courteous thing to do to give you a spoiler warning, just in case. I want to put a lot of thought into this series, and I expect the gathering of material for each new part to take time on its own, followed by a lengthy script writing process, and then redrafting and editing. That's besides the number of times I'll need to watch the series over and over to make sure I have all my information straight, and that's besides the time I will spend with real-life responsibilities. That means uploads will be months apart. Yes, this will all take an eternity, and I'm up for the challenge. If that's something you're also into, then strap in and feel free to stay a while. I should note now that I have read the manga as well. I started sometime after the end of Season 3. As I go, I will sometimes use the manga for comparison in my points, but not to say that it's worse because it deviates from the manga. I don't like that argument. That argument isn't useful since it disregards most adaptations simply for being adaptations, which would discount a lot of great storytelling. I will not be using it. That being said, I am mostly interested in covering Attack on Titan's animated adaptation. In places where the subtitled adaptation differs widely from the English dub, I will also take the time to discuss how any differences in meaning may affect the scene in question. I don't speak Japanese, so I can't say much about how well the dialogue is originally written. All I can say is if the meaning is roughly equal, and we can see that characters are reacting to things being said the same way they would if the English reflects the Japanese, then I can certainly criticize a majority of the writing choices in the original dialogue. That said, when it comes to my points for and against the characters and the plot, rest assured I will always use the best faith interpretations I can find. I will supplement my narration with images and clips from the series and from other relevant media as it is brought up. I will also include gameplay from the Attack on Titan tribute game, Be Kind, I'm Not That Good. As installments to my series are added over time, I hope to slowly paint a picture of my views on AOT as a whole. The good, the bad, and the immensely disappointing. My conclusions about the series are not popular, and I will do my best to explain the reasons behind them. Hopefully I can encourage more discussion about how high the standard should be for writing in AOT and in all of anime. With all of that said, I am bound to make mistakes in these videos. Attack on Titan is a complicated story with a lot of moving parts, and as I suffer from the condition of being human, inaccuracies are bound to happen despite my very best efforts to avoid them. I ask for you, the viewer, to be there to help me with the places where I slip up. For each half of a season I cover, or roughly 12 episodes, I plan to make an addendum video correcting any inaccurate statements I made. In these videos, I'll address how this new information reshapes my perspectives and my arguments about the story. If it turns out I made enough errors that a video should be released sooner, then I am flexible enough to make more addendum videos as needed. This is a learning experience for me, so expect me to change my format as I get my feet wet with the whole video making thing. It will be interesting to look back at this video and see how each video after it reflects subtle improvements I make over time. Now with all of that out of the way, we can get to the critique. I hope you'll join me. And it's because writing about things you know intimately and reliably tends to lead to more complexly crafted and believable storytelling.